Lori and her children, Tylee and JJ, moved into this apartment complex in Rexburg in September 2019. This courtyard is where JJ is seen on camera playing with neighborhood kids. But also in September, according to police, the children would go missing. On November 26, 2019, Rexburg police knocked on this door, conducting a welfare check requested by JJ Vallow's grandparents. Lori told police that JJ was in Arizona with a friend. But when that story didn't check out, they returned the next day with a search warrant, only to discover Lori and her new husband, Chad Daybell, were nowhere to be found.
There's a peek inside the neighborhood. Let's bring in Chanley Painter, who joins us live tonight from Idaho Falls, the site of where a vigil will be taking place in a short while. We see some of what's happening behind you, Chanley. But let me start with Lori Vallow-Daybell's neighborhood. You know, we cover these stories, we investigate these stories, and with the shutdown, we did a lot of this from afar. You then were in the neighborhood. What struck you walking around and seeing the townhome, seeing the courtyard, seeing that neighborhood where they were living?
Vinny, that's the Rock Creek Apartments in Rexburg, Idaho, and it is a very nice part of town. I walked through the neighborhood, I drove through the neighborhood, and what struck me were how many kids playing in beautifully decorated yards with flowers. It was colorful. There were parents sitting out on their front porches watching their kids play, running through the sprinkler. They had their toys, they had their dogs and their cats in the yard. It was very comfortable. I felt very safe and very welcome. Everyone was quite nice. Even knowing that I was with a media outlet, they were approachable. And I talked with several of the neighbors who lived next door to Lori Vallow when she lived there back in September through November. In fact, I spoke to the neighbor across the way who turned over that doorbell video of JJ Vallow that was taken on September 17th. You can see him running across the yard, playing with the neighborhood kids. That was very much the same scene that I saw there today. She told me about the population that lives in that townhome neighborhood, and she said it's mostly young families and students at BYU Idaho there in Rexburg. So it seems to be a little transient, you know, students coming in and out. But also while I was standing there, one of the administrators from the complex showed an older couple, grandparent age, the apartment right next to what used to be Lori Vallow's, and that would have been Melanie Boudreau's apartment where she lived, and they were in there looking at that. So very much a hometown, comfortable, close-knit community in that complex.
Did anyone mention anything about seeing anything out of the ordinary with Lori Vallow-Daybell and JJ and Tylee when they moved in and were spending time there and living there?
Right, I spoke to the neighbor again, the one with the doorbell video. She didn't want to be on camera with us. She wanted to avoid being a part of the biggest story ever out of Rexburg, Idaho, unfortunately happening right across her lawn. She said that she only saw Lori one time while Lori lived there because she only lived there for a short while. She never saw Tylee Ryan during that time. She did see JJ, of course. She has the doorbell video of that. And she said, since what has happened, it really has hit close to home to her because this is a neighborhood full of young children and families, and it's just been quite devastating for her and the neighbors. And Vinny, I also talked to the new residents of Lori Vallow's apartment, number 175 there, and she said that they didn't know that when they signed the contract that they were moving into what was Lori Vallow's home, and she lives there with her husband and family, very wonderful, nice people. And she said that, in fact, when she moved in, after she moved in to the home, that the FBI knocked on the door one day and asked to search the home again. She said apparently there was a crawl space underneath a crawl space that she knew about, that she didn't know about, and they took some time and searched that. She didn't say exactly when that happened, but definitely they're still reeling from what has happened. You can see the effects of the missing children, especially the one who knew JJ, and now they're hoping for some closure and justice.
All right, Chanley, everyone at home watching is looking at all the action behind you. Give us a quick description of what's taking place and what's in store.
So in just about an hour or so, we're expecting several hundred people to show up and honor the lives of Tylee and JJ Ryan. These are the organizers behind me. And it's a big open field in Idaho Falls here, about 30 minutes south of where I was there at Lori's former home in Rexburg. The main road to my right, there's a huge sign that says Tylee and JJ in blue and purple. The grass of the field is lined with pictures of Tylee and JJ. Behind me, you see, of course, the balloon display in Tylee and JJ's favorite colors. There's a board to my left where people can come write memories and notes or words of encouragement to Kay and Larry Woodcock that will be given over to them. Tonight, when this starts around 8:30 Mountain Standard Time here, they're expecting to have a candlelight vigil, some music, a moment of silence, a couple of speakers again, honoring the lives of Tylee and JJ.
Let's bring Court TV anchor Julie Grant into our conversation here. Julie, as we see what's happening out there, I keep hearing Chanley describing the people of Idaho that she's running into in all these neighborhoods. And Julie, you know what it's like when you're covering a story and it's a big story. A lot of times people don't want to bother with us. You know, they do things and, you know, they give us the one finger salute. They do all these things. But she keeps saying how nice everyone is. How nice everyone is, Julie. And that's the one thing that's really striking me. And now we're seeing the community embracing Larry and Kay and everyone else from that family who were missing JJ and Tylee.
Yes, Vinny. It seems that that community where Chanley is tonight is filled with lovely, lovely people who were just devastated with this loss. And the big shame of it is that JJ and Tylee never got to know those people. They never had a fair chance at getting to live in that community, enjoy all of the love and support that these folks have to offer them. That's the real shame of it, the way that their mother uprooted them from Arizona, right after her brother killed Charles Vallow. I think that was husband number 4, and then uproots the kids to Rexburg, Idaho, where Mr. Doomsday is. They're not married yet because, of course, he's still married to Vallow-Daybell. And by the way, Vinny, I keep thinking about what those kids, I understand they have 5 children together, Tammy and Chad Daybell. Their mother gone from them, taken way too soon. And now this was in October that she passed away, October 19th. Her body was exhumed in December, and that autopsy is still going on, by the way. Those children, their heads have to be spinning that now dad is under arrest and charged with, concealing the evidence of children, the remains of children said by other family members to be JJ and Tylee. Those poor children that belonged to Chad Daybell and Tammy Daybell, my goodness, still mourning the loss of their mother. And then now this. And Cult Mom, she's buying her wedding ring weeks before Tammy Daybell is even dead. And by the way, Cult Mom, Vinny, I keep waiting to hear something from her. This silence from her to me right now is deafening. And I understand as an attorney, I certainly understand that she's got a lawyer, doesn't have to say a word. But wouldn't you think, as the mother of these 2 children missing since September, if you found out and family members are saying that these are your kids found dead in that backyard of your husband, and you had nothing to do with it, wouldn't you think she would be speaking out saying, oh my goodness, I am outraged. This is the worst thing in the world. And yet we're hearing nothing from her. I think that omission is huge, Vinny.